Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier here with another Mike's Instant Movie Review. I appreciate all the new subscribers. The subscriber count is low. As you know, this is the expanded Mike Messier YouTube experience. This channel, One Mike Messier, has Mike's Instant Movie Reviews. Other channels I have, One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan has pro wrestling and sports takes and interviews. And One Man in a Camera Films has my films, the films that I make for your enjoyment, and all you have to do is subscribe and watch. That being said, the movie in question today is Beau Is Afraid. Who is Beau and what's he afraid of? Well, Joaquin Phoenix plays Beau. Should you see this movie, yay or nay? It's going to be a mixed take from me. I have mixed feelings about this film. I'm not positively sure if I'm even glad to say that I saw it, to be honest with you, because it's a 3-hour investment. And like Tar from maybe 6 months or 8 months ago, I have to say, is my life so much better after I've spent 3 hours with Beau or 3 hours with Tar? And these are great actors. Kate Blanchett as Tar and Joaquin Phoenix as Beau, the title character, the titular character. And I do like some stuff in this movie. If you're wondering what I thought of Tar, I basically, did another review on that one last year. And I thought that it was a great 2-hour movie in a 3-hour movie. Like, it's just, a movie is fighting to get out of Tar. That's really great. But it's lazy editing, like no editing, okay? Now, this one, Beau, I think the actual, I don't feel like, I wasn't sitting there like I was in Tar, like editing the movie as I'm watching it. Like, I would shorten this scene, I'd take this scene out. I was doing that a lot in Tar. This one, I wasn't really doing that. And I give them credit, the filmmakers, I can't remember the fucking names, but I give them credit for doing something original. It's certainly unique. But it's also kind of unique in that everything, everywhere, all the fucking once, but who gives a shit type of way. These modern day art house movies are very self-indulgent. I like art house movies. I've made one myself, Blood Sugar Sedace, which you can find over on One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan fucking channel in the archives. But I like art house movies. My art house movie was 78 minutes because I know that most people want to blow their fucking heads off after about the 60th minute. Now, with this Beau movie, I felt like the strongest points, I guess I'm just going to say at this point, if you want to go see this fucking movie, go see it and then come back. Otherwise, I'm going to spoil the fuck out of it. So here we go. And if you've seen the movie, hang with me. We'll compare notes. Okay? So, I liked the beginning and I liked the end. And the stuff in between, I like some of it. I like the chick from The Office. I think her name is Amy Ryan. She's good. She was in this thing. I think she's the real life wife of Steve Carell. Somebody in like an SUV just got in their fucking SUV, and another SUV was like parked right next to him. So they're like, oh, smashing the door and shit. But yeah, Amy Ryan from The Office was in this. She plays the wife of Nathan Lane's character, and I thought they were good. But we start off with this sad sack of a human being, Beau. Here's a person walking by, of course. I'll just wait for this person. We start off with Beau. He lives in the ghetto. I thought the representation of the ghetto was hilarious. I mean, you'd have to see it if you did see it. I thought that was a really strong point. Like, Beau is like, you see these things on YouTube about Portland or LA or all these other, once great American cities that are turning to shit sties, and with the drugs and the homeless and the whores and the prostitutes and the stabbings. And it's like, this movie, several times during this film, I felt like the movie was making fun of both movies and life at the same time. I kind of like that. So this movie was kind of, I thought, mocking or exaggerating for comedic effect our modern day cities that have turned to shit. And, you know, it reminds me of the McKenzie brothers. You put a fucking mouse in the can and get your full 6-pack, right? If you ever saw that, strange brew. But basically, it's like we're supposed to be going through this fucking deprived, nasty, gross location with this guy, Beau, to feel sympathy or empathy. And then he gets on the horn with his mother and some other people, and his mother's expecting him to come visit. And then the next day, he set his alarm early. He keeps getting these nasty notes under his door. Turn your fucking music down, blah, blah, blah. That went nowhere unless it's some allegory or some symbolism I didn't catch. And Beau, unfortunately, loses his door key, which apparently is the door key to both his own apartment door, which he has a pretty nice apartment considering he's in the hood, the ghetto. And also, he loses like the front door key to the whole building. So he's very nervous. And then his therapist, who we've met earlier, I kind of forget about the therapist character. The therapist, who was the gentleman who was the non-Denzel Washington actor in Fences with Viola Davis, wasn't either Viola or Denzel, the other guy, the friend. He's in this thing as the therapist. And he's given our buddy Beau here a fucking pill that he says you must drink with water. You must drink it with water. It's vital. So Beau fucking takes the pill, and then he discovers that his water is out. And so he's all freaking out. He Googles real quick what happens if you take this specific pill without water, and basically you could die. So he looks across the street. Some homeless guy is killing a guy. And he sees a convenience store that just has a fresh delivery of bottled water. So he's like trying to figure out what to do. He's propping his door open. He goes and he props the hotel, the house door open, the apartment door open, the building door open. And he goes into this convenience store and he grabs the water and he starts gulping it down. And then he's trying to pay the convenience store guy, and he's like short of change. The convenience store guy's being a real prick. And meanwhile, he's looking across the street to see that his building is being occupied by all the scum of the earth. So, you know, that's where we go. And it's not me saying they're scum of the earth. That's how they are portrayed in the movie. So don't hashtag me. Or you should, so I get more fucking subscribers, more than the 9. Not that I don't appreciate the 9 that are here. So then we move on. Beau goes back to his fucking apartment, and it's trashed, and it's disgusting. And then he's like calling his mom again for help. And, you know, some dude answers the phone, and it's the UPS guy who said the UPS guy has found a decapitated body underneath a chandelier. And so putting 2 and 2 together, we figure, well, fuck, it seems like Beau's mother is dead. So now, Beau's very upset. Somehow he ends up naked, running in the middle of the street. And there's this other fucking goofy character, the naked, like, stabber, this guy who's in the ghetto stabbing everybody, who's described as a white, uncircumcised male. And he's going around stabbing everybody. Now, Beau himself is nude. And he gets, you know, basically chased down by the other naked guy. Because, like, the naked guy's upset that there's another naked guy in town. And then Beau's running for his life. And that's when, boom, he gets hit by a truck driven by the Nathan Lane, Amy Ryan characters, if that's who that was. And it's like, oh, hoosha, hoosha. He wakes up in bed and he's all fucked up. He's got stab wounds. And he's being tended to by Amy Ryan, who's taking this kind of pseudo-mother role to him. And Nathan Lane comes in, and he's taking a pseudo-father figure role to our buddy Beau. And so now we get into, like, you know, a series of unfortunate events, basically. Like, so now Beau, and it kind of quickly, we find out that this couple has this dead son, kind of like a Richie Cunningham's older brother, went off to war and never came home. And Chuck, like a Chuck Cunningham of sorts, he's dead. They also have this daughter that's being ignored, of course, the teenage daughter who's being ignored. What a tripe that is. And Beau's sleeping in her bed. She's got all these fucking posters of like K-pop bands in her fucking room. And, so Beau's in this family's house, and then he finds out for certain that his mother is in fact deceased, that his mom has died, and the people are planning a funeral, but they're waiting for Beau to come home for the funeral before the funeral even happens. So the body is his deceased mother's body is not in good shape here because she's dead. So he's getting a lot of pressure to go home for this fucking funeral for his mother, but he can't leave because there's this fucking weird couple, the Nathan Lane, the Amy Ryan. They're kind of holding him there. They're not making it easy for him to go home. They're saying, hey, you can't fly because you have all these wounds. They'll blow up. It will drive you. And then one thing leads to another, and they can never fucking drive them. And it's starting to feel a little bit like Misery, if you remember that one, with the fucking ankle smash and all that. So he's getting kind of captive here. There's several parts of this movie that felt like other fucking movies, okay? And I don't know if they were homages or just, people recycling shit they've seen in other people's films. So it kind of felt a little, replace our dead son routine. I thought the sister was going to make a move on him, but she didn't. And then Beau, and credit to Joaquin Phoenix, the guy does not try, like, he doesn't have to look good because he doesn't look good in this movie. I don't know if that was his actual body, but he did, he is a lot bulkier than he was in something like The Joker, which he was excellent in. So I don't know if his actual body's kind of chubby now, or if they, for the, there's some nudity in this on his part. So I don't know if they did the thing like the Game of Thrones where they took his head and supplanted it on another person's body for those scenes or what. But anyway, because they can do so much now with special effects. So then we go into this other goddamn thing and this other goddamn thing. And then Beau ends up, and this is literally, I conked out during a good portion of this movie. There's a fucking, Beau ends up running away from these people. I won't ruin that scene just in case you see it. I really do feel like there's a great 90-minute, 2-hour movie in this 3-hour fucking thing. But basically the sister fucking drinks paint, which is it's just kind of funny in a weird way, a sad way. And then he's off and running. He's running from Amy Ryan for his life, and he gets hit in the head with a branch. And the next thing you know, Beau's found himself with, I don't know what the fuck it was supposed to be, like a Woodland Shakespeare company. Was that fucking character Puck, the Stanley Tucci that played him in that Shakespeare with the fucking Felicity Huffman, or who was it? The really thin woman that married Harrison Ford a long time ago. Then she had her own show that everybody loved or hated. Felicity or whatever the fuck. And the actress, she was pretty, she was super thin, but then the guy, like Stanley Tucci, she was in this Shakespeare movie, and Stanley Tucci was in it too. I think it was A Midsummer Night's Dream, and Stanley played Puck. So now, that has nothing to do with this fucking Beau movie, except it felt to me like Shakespearean actors in this fucking forest or some shit. And I really started to drift off. People were coming to me for counsel. Of course, people are, bothering me on my text, sending me messages of questions I cannot answer. No offense, but I'm trying to concentrate on this shitty movie. I'm the only one in the theater. I was tempted. I put my fucking phone on just because I couldn't deal with this goddamn movie. And so now I'm reading texts. I'm trying to watch the movie. I'm trying to stay awake. Everything's happening at once. Oh my goodness. But the fucking movie, really, I don't know. It just kind of went into this 45-minute or literally an hour that I wish wasn't there. It's like, okay, we get it. He went to the Nathan Lane, Amy Ryan house, but this whole fucking scene in the woods, it felt a little extraneous, a little unnecessary, or a lot. Now, maybe that was the best part of the movie, and because I slept through it, I have no fucking clue. Then we get to the next fucking thing, and Beau finally somehow shows up at his fucking mom's house. Supposedly they were holding the funeral services until he showed up, but apparently they didn't. They couldn't wait any longer, so he shows up. The funeral is over, but they videotaped it, luckily for him, and they're playing it on a loop. And they hear, oh, Beau, this woman loved her fucking son so much she would move mountains for him. He couldn't be here today. So it's kind of like they're taking little jabs at him. Then he sees this fucking, what we think at the time is his deceased mother in the fucking coffin with no head. It's a little alarming. Then we see kind of a highlight, Parker Posey. She used to be like the queen of these indie art house movies 25, 30 years ago, still looking pretty good, shapely woman, and she, has sex with Beau, and so there's this whole other goddamn flashback stuff. When Beau was like 9, he was on this fucking cruise with his mother. The whole thing with this movie is he's got this overwhelming mother, like this mother who's overbearing, right? So he's on this cruise with his overbearing mother, and there's this little girl that's on the cruise with her overbearing mother, and so she and Beau kiss. They have their first kiss with each other, and they promise to end up together. And now it's like 40 fucking years later, right? So, Beau has not moved on from his 9-year-old kissing crush. But now we see that Parker Posey, as the kissing crush, has returned, and she's at the fucking house for the funeral, which is shocking to Beau. And it's like, she turns out to be on his fucking... She's an employee of his deceased mother. It turns out through a piece of art, we discovered that the Nathan Lane character was an employee of the deceased mother, which was interesting. So it's kind of like the mother pulls all the strings for this guy's life. And then Parker Posey, I guess you would call it a pity fuck. She basically disrobes and she fucks good old Beau. And we're led to believe, I think, that this is Beau's first sexual experience of this nature with this woman. And Parker Posey still looks pretty good. So thumbs up to her. And they fuck. And then the next thing you know, she's dead. And the mother's in the fucking room with her head fully on her fucking body. And so I guess we're led to believe that the whole death of the mother thing was a giant hoax in order to test Beau and to see how much he loved his mother. So the movie was very, basically we're in this whole fucking spider web that this, the movie I saw yesterday, The Artifice Girl, had a spider web reference. So now we're in this whole fucking spider web where this controlling bitch of a mother controls everything that this guy has lived. And then she's yelling at him, she's degrading him. He puts his hand around her neck. I think there's references to a younger brother or an older brother that was killed by mom during their childhood, which is, pretty gross and sick too. And then, Beau basically chokes his mom. She falls face first into a fucking aquarium. Beau hops on a fucking boat. And he's trying to escape, and then he hops on this boat because he's trying to escape the rich mother's house, and he finds out that he's in the middle of a giant soundstage with like 10,000 people watching him on the boat, and there's two lawyers arguing, and suddenly his mother's there with the lawyer, and I don't know if that's supposed to mean the afterlife or whatever the fuck. And then he's got a defense lawyer, and the lawyer was actually played by the guy that played Larry David's cousin on Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is a pretty funny character, actually. And he does a good job with the scene. And then Beau's got a defense lawyer that has no microphone, right? So, well, guess what? If you're not catching on, the guy's in a boat. He's having his whole life evaluated. Very Truman Show-esque. Very Truman Show. So we've got all these movies, like we have this... we have this whole thing with the fucking thing. We have this whole Mercy movie, Misery movie reference with the people, keeping him against his will. We have the whole fucking Truman Show thing down to the boat. We have the oppressive mother. I mean, we've seen a lot of movies like that with the oppressive mother. And so it's just a lot of shit we've seen before, to be honest with you. And yes, it's all original and wacky and goofy. But I'm telling you, it's like, this is the type of movie that I think I saw the preview once and I was like, okay, I'll go see it. Because I see most of these fucking movies. And this is the type of movie that people are going to tell me about, oh, Mike, you got to see this Beau Is Afraid. This is the type of movie that people will think that I will like, and I won't, okay? So then, what happens next? Beau's on trial, and then even you have that movie going way back, what's his dick? Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks defending your life from way back when. So, I don't know. I just feel like, yes, it's a different type of movie. I give them points for trying stuff. I was going to say new shit, but like I said, I've illustrated that a lot of this stuff in this movie's been done. It's all been done, bare fucking naked ladies, right? So, I don't know. I just don't know what to tell you. I think the Parker Posey scene was probably the best, you know, on some levels. I think that the fucking trial scene was really good. I think the sister dying of paint scene was good. I think the beginning in the ghetto was good. I just don't know if I can, you know, like I said, there's like 6 or 7 scenes that I liked, but this thing was so goddamn long. These people feel like they need to make these, like, oh, we'll make a 3-hour movie and everybody will like us for it. No, we won't, assholes. So there you go, folks. I don't know. It's a mixed review. Like I said, it's not Joaquin's fault. Okay, here we go. Here's my big intellectual thing at the 22-minute mark. There's this book, Save the Cat, by Blake Snyder, okay? Save the Cat. You mean, what's that, Mike? Well, it's a book about screenwriting. It's a screenplay book, and it basically gives this formula for how to make a Hollywood screenplay. A screenplay that Hollywood like. And this Blake Snyder guy is a really good writer, and he discusses genres very well in his book. And he breaks down all the genres of commercially successful films, the buddy cop movie, he calls it buddy love movie, you know, the Western, you know, action, you know, all that shit. He breaks it all down, romantic comedy. And then he says, these are the definitive genres of film. There are no other genres of film. If you can think of one, if I'm forgetting something, please email me and tell me what the fuck I'm forgetting. So I'm like, okay, asshole, I'll take you up on that, Blake. And I thought, you know what? I think there's a genre of film that I would like to call the cathartic journey. Cathartic journey. Now, what is that? Well, I define it as you watch your you're sitting there watching this movie, and you're watching your protagonist basically suffer. You're watching him suffer, him or her, okay, or they, or whatever the fuck. You're watching this individual suffer for fucking an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, or if it's 3 hours and we're suffering. But you're watching the lead character suffer through great pains, and then they suffer an unfortunate end. And I can make some references. You say, well, gee whiz, Mike, that doesn't sound like a fun movie to watch. And I would say, well, the reference I would make, The Passion of the Christ, I think would be a cathartic journey. The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke, which is a great movie, that would be a cathartic journey. And speaking of, A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon, which probably 99% of you assholes haven't seen. It's a great movie with River Phoenix, not Joaquin, but his brother River, plays this high school kid who's trying to get a date to the prom with this really hot girl, and shit hits the fan. It's a fun movie. If you want to see why people used to finger bang themselves to River Phoenix before Joaquin kind of took his spot in this whole big tapestry of pop culture life, look for A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon. Great movie. So in that movie, the character suffers, okay? So it has an unfortunate end. So that's what I presented. I emailed good old Blake Snyder. I said, I think I have a genre you have not thought of, the cathartic journey. And his response was as such, no, Mike, this is not a new genre. This is just the golden fleece that I described in my wonderful book. It's just golden fleece movies with a down ending. I'm like, well, that's kind of the goddamn point, you know, like you know what I mean? So we had this little teat-to-teat, and then I said, well, I'm not going to make an enemy out of this gentleman, this Blake Snyder. He's a published author. He did write the movie Blank Check, which I never saw. But I said, hey, Blake, I make, you know, these independent films. Perhaps you'd like to watch one of my movies. Can I send you this on a DVD, back when DVDs were a thing, as the kids say? And Blake kindly responded via email, yes, Mike, please send me your thing. send me your DVD, here's my address. And I, happily put a DVD in the mail, sent it off to Blake Snyder, and was just waiting for a retort, waiting for a response, and none of which came. And I was kind of upset, but hey, that's the business, folks. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was wondering whatever happened, so I just kind of said, well, gee, I guess Blake didn't like my movie, he didn't respond. And then I just kind of said, well, I wonder what Blake is up to. So I Googled Blake Snyder. This is all about 12 years ago. I Googled Blake Snyder, and lo and behold, he had died. So I felt bad. I felt bad because he was a great writer. He had just been married a couple of years earlier to a woman. So it seemed like his life was doing well. He had a sequel to his book. Save the Cat goes to the movies, I think. And then I'm like, man, this poor guy, he had his whole life doing so well, had these books, had written a feature film called Blank Check. Everyone loved him, and he passed away. And so, but then I put the timing together. I'm like, well, shit, if he emailed me, go ahead and send me your DVD, and then, the next thing you know, he's deceased. I'm like, I wonder if he got my DVD of the Wrestling with Sanity short film trilogy, put it into his trusty Blake Snyder DVD player. It played. the content was so non-Save the Cat-ish that he had a moment of disgust and despair, and he had a heart attack and died watching my short films. So I don't think that's what happened. I don't think I killed the mighty Blake Snyder, and I'm not trying to make light of that. I think he would enjoy the anecdote, and there you fucking have it. So I actually did pay tribute to Blake Snyder in one of my scripts, which actually you can find. It's been translated to a novel by the one and only Kate Spain on Amazon. It's called Bad Girls with Good Tattoos, which is a wonderful novel available for sale on Amazon. So Blake, here's to you, buddy. There is a Blake Snyder reference in that novel as well as the screenplay version. So there you fucking have it. So anyway, folks, that's my take. I don't know if I have shed any light on this situation. I don't know if I brought anything to your life. Joaquin Phoenix is a great fucking actor. I have nothing against him. I'm a big fan of both his and his brother. I know that they were raised in kind of a hippy-dippy world of weirdos and stuff, or whatever the fuck, alternative lifestyle people, meaning hippies and communes and so forth, and that's why they all had interesting names. But as far as this movie goes, I just think it's another one of these. I hope that for all the shit, it's spring. You know what spring is for the cinema? And I'm just realizing this today. Spring is for the dramatic movies that don't have a shot in hell of winning an Oscar, so they don't release them in, December, which is Oscar season. They hold them over to the fucking spring, and then when the summer comes, it's Mission Impossible 20, and, Men in Black 5, and all this other, Jurassic World Part 2, Jurassic Universe. All the Hollywood big boy blockbusters come out in the summer. All the Oscar pretentious films come out in December, and we get the fucking weird mix of shit now. You know what I mean? So there you fucking have it. That's my analysis. MikeMessier.com. What a wonderful review. If you're enjoying these swear-filled obscenity rants and raves, subscribe to the goddamn channel. Copy and paste the fucking URL. Take a moment out of your time. I just took 28 minutes and 43 seconds to entertain you fucks. But what you can do is copy and paste the URL, put it on your social goddamned media, get me some more views, get me some more subscribers. Go to Amazon.com and buy all my goddamn books, Fight or Play Basketball, A Distance from Avalon, and so forth. I'm getting this very Ox Bakery fucking eyebrow thing going. Very, very Ox Bakery. All right, folks, that's it. Mike Messier, the movie. I give it 2 stars out of 5.